All right, let's jump straight into this absolutely gripping explainer. Today, we're looking at a forensic audit of Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick and the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, better known to most of us as AARO. Now, if you've been following the recent push for UAP transparency, you know Dr. Kirkpatrick's resignation caused massive waves. But the source documents we're analyzing today paint a vastly different picture from the official story of a frustrated scientist. Let's see what the data actually says.
Right off the bat, the source document drops us right into the deep end with this heavy quote. AARO was never a disclosure office. It was the ultimate ARCHONIC firewall. According to this massive analysis, which the authors call the scientific indictment, AARO was deliberately built as a bureaucratic trap. The claim here is that the office was never designed to actually find the truth about advanced aerospace vehicles, but instead it was created to aggressively manage public perception and ensure the deepest secrets stayed buried.
Now, you might be wondering who is actually making these claims. Well, what's really interesting is that this indictment isn't coming from some anonymous internet forum. The source material originates from Kyle Knopp, a trained U.S. Space Force radar electronics mechanic based at Eglin Air Force Base. This anchors the whole thing in a very serious military context. We're talking about an analysis from someone whose literal job is to separate signal from noise on the world's most powerful phased array radars.
To really grasp how this alleged cover-up operates, the document says we first have to understand the concept of a limited hangout. It's a classic intelligence tactic. Think of it like giving a little to hide a lot. When a secret is about to blow up, you volunteer a small, heavily sanitized piece of the truth to satisfy public curiosity. So you admit there are weird objects in the sky performing impossible maneuvers, but you use that admission to completely hide the much more damaging core reality, like the existence of heavily funded reverse-engineered terrestrial programs using advanced electrogravitic tech. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how the source views Dr. Kirkpatrick. The document explicitly labels him not as an objective, independent scientist, but as an ARCHONIC content manager. According to the text, his mission was never to solve the mystery. Instead, he was deployed to build an impenetrable firewall, systematically discredit legitimate intelligence whistleblowers, and legally push the narrative that the U.S. government possesses zero classified anti-gravity technology. Section 1. The Interrogation, the 45-minute confession.
The text details a pretty wild 45-minute phone confrontation between an independent researcher going by the handle Spectrum Guns and Dr. Kirkpatrick himself. And the researcher didn't just ask vague questions. They literally handed Kirkpatrick the exact GPS coordinates to locate a TR-3B Astra, which is an alleged top-secret black triangular craft that was actively operating inside restricted U.S. military airspace. On top of that, Kirkpatrick was directly interrogated about the specific electrogravitic physics required to make a craft like that work. They were pushing the system to see how it would react.
So here's where it gets really crazy. The interrogator specifically pressed Dr. Kirkpatrick on this exact publicly available U.S. Navy patent, U.S. Patent 10,144,532 B2, for a craft using an inertial mass reduction device by Dr. Salvatore Pais. This is a real, granted patent that perfectly describes the physics you'd need to actually make one of these impossible triangular crafts fly.
The document outlines a major crack in the facade during this call. It states that initially, Kirkpatrick ran what they call the shill protocol, feigning total ignorance of the black budget and these specific patents. But as the 45-minute interrogation dragged on, he slipped. He accidentally acknowledged that he was familiar with Dr. Pais and his Navy mass reduction patents. So while publicly telling the world there was no empirical evidence of anomalous technology, in private, he admitted he knew exactly who the architect of that technology was.
Section 2. The Public Trap, the Perjury Protocol.
So how did this private deception spill into the public eye? Let's check the timeline, tracing a massive public claim that immediately collapsed. In January 2024, on the Peter Bergen podcast, Kirkpatrick explicitly claimed that AARO had reached out to intelligence whistleblower David Grusch multiple times to get him to testify, but that Grusch just refused. It was a clear attempt to paint Grusch as uncooperative. But man, that narrative fell apart fast.
Whistleblower David Grusch went straight onto national television on News Nation and totally dismantled the AARO director's credibility with this simple, brutal quote, "I have zero emails or calls from them. This is a lie." Grusch is a former intelligence officer himself, and he clearly did not mince words here. And the receipts absolutely backed Grusch up. Later Freedom of Information Act documents, specifically Case 24FO266, proved that AARO had actually set up a legal trap. They didn't call Grusch through the proper secure channels. Instead, they sent these back-channel invitations while explicitly refusing to guarantee they had the necessary Title 50 SIF clearances. That's the ultra-secure facility needed for viewing classified info. So, Grusch didn't refuse to talk, he refused to walk into a room where answering classified questions without those proper clearance protections would literally send him to federal prison. The source claims Kirkpatrick, being a counterintelligence officer, knew exactly what he was doing.
Section 3. The Legal Shell Game. Why AARO was designed to fail.
You really have to ask yourself, why would a physicist allegedly lie so blatantly? Well, the source points to this brilliant legal shell game the Pentagon uses to dodge oversight entirely. You see, AARO was established under Title 10 authority, which is for standard overt military operations. But the true, highly classified legacy UAP programs, those operate entirely under Title 50, which governs covert intelligence. By giving AARO a Title 10 flashlight and telling them to go look for Title 50 secrets, the system guarantees they legally won't find a thing.
This is exactly how the data gets hidden in plain sight. AARO's public mandate looks great on paper, but according to leaked whistleblower reports cited in the explainer, the real, ultra-high-definition, multi-sensor UAP data is instantly stripped from military networks. It literally never goes to AARO. Instead, it gets funneled directly into a deeply buried USAP, an unacknowledged special access program called Immaculate Constellation. AARO legally can't find the evidence because a shadow agency intercepts it first.
But it gets even more complicated. The physical evidence itself gets legally laundered. By transferring crashed hardware to private defense contractors, it creates a massive legal black hole. Once that hardware falls under corporate independent research and development protections, it legally ceases to be government property at all. Suddenly, it's totally immune to FOIA requests and standard congressional subpoenas, making oversight committees completely powerless.
Section 4. The Ultimate Firewall. Protecting the Black Budget.
Let's bring this all together with the document's final, devastating verdict. According to this text, Dr. Kirkpatrick didn't fail at finding the truth. He succeeded perfectly at hiding it. By ignoring GPS coordinates, playing dumb on Navy patents, setting clearance traps for whistleblowers, and running an office specifically designed to look in the wrong legal jurisdiction, he acted as a shield for a multi-trillion-dollar black budget enterprise. And the source claims that before Congress could even subpoena him, Kirkpatrick fled the collapsing narrative and resigned in December 2023. He handed the office over to Dr. John T. Kozlowski, a top-tier NSA cryptologist, basically replacing a counterintelligence officer with a data encryption expert to make absolutely sure that Firewall stays unbreakable. Which leaves us with one incredibly chilling final thought to consider based on these claims. If the highest levels of official government oversight are mathematically and legally structured to be nothing more than an illusion, a limited hangout designed to protect a breakaway civilization holding zero-point energy and advanced terrestrial physics, then how deep does the true conspiracy go? What else is currently operating in our skies, funded by tax dollars completely outside the bounds of the law? It's a question that completely upends the entire modern disclosure movement.